Update. Am I the a-hole for being upset that my husband used my bonus on him? Original story. History. My husband, 28 male, and I, 27 female, have been married about 4 years now. We dated in college and got married after. He finished college with a finance degree and thought he would go into accounting. Well, he quickly found out that it was not his passion. So he bounced around jobs and ideas, business, teacher, lawyer, but nothing really kept him saying, "This is what I want to do." This was pre-COVID. Since COVID, he has attempted anything. He says after the pandemic there will be a boom in jobs and he can find something that he's passionate about. I have been working full-time and thankfully my job became remote and pays the bills while keeping food on the table. Incident in question. After the fiscal year closed, my work had done really well. We're selling medical testing equipment, so it was a big product of 2020. I was given a promotion. I got a little pay raise and a small bonus. I was really excited because I could finally repair my purse and replace my shoes. My friend's puppy destroyed, but I acknowledge I should not have left my purse on a low stool in front of the puppy's bed. So, my fault. I was so excited to tell my husband, but he seemed more excited than me over this promotion. He started going off about how he could redo his game area and get the new system since he was tired of his others. And I was dumbfounded. I got really quiet because I almost could not believe what he was saying. He eventually goes out and gets himself a new system, chair, and mouse. He had basically spent my bonus. I was so upset and ultimately hurt and numb. We ended up getting into an argument, and he called me selfish for not being happy that he got to achieve his dream, and I am spoiled for being upset I couldn't spend this money on myself first. I basically called him an ungrateful a-hole and asked why does he deserve new stuff when I have been providing. He got really quiet on that one and stormed out saying he would be staying with his family, only about an hour away. I have been getting angry calls and texts due to the fact he didn't feel supported in his own home. And if I'm making the money, I can get whatever I want when I want. And I shouldn't throw it in his face that he doesn't have an income, which is not true. I'm trying to keep a roof over our head and food on the table. All his friends and family think I way overreacted to something that makes my husband happy. And that the next time we get a large sum of money, my husband said he would let me repair my purse. I haven't responded and don't think I will for a few days. But I have gotten so many "you're such a witch" in the a-hole, I'm starting to wonder if I really am. Summary. Husband is bored with his game system stuff, so he used my bonus and raced to buy him a new one without my permission. And when I got upset, I was labeled selfish and unsupportive. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. Also, as someone who's been in a relationship with this type of person, lawyers can be found on Google. Thank you for your input. I was hoping it wouldn't reach there, but after this, I'm not sure. I would separate your checking account, although that would send him flying. I doubt that your husband will ever change. Not a-hole. He is selfish and entitled. I would start separating your finances to protect your future self. Not saying you will split or should split, but this is reckless. I was hoping to not have to go there because I believe a marriage was a union between two people, that they shouldn't have anything entitled to them. But after thousands disappeared, I'm starting to wonder what this union means to him. I was assuming hundreds. Thousands? That is absolutely unacceptable. Start a personal savings account with direct deposit now. Sort the details later. Not an a-hole and is trying to manipulate you into feeling bad, rather than taking responsibility for his terrible actions. You clean the house and make the money. What does he bring to your relationship? What is done is unacceptable, childish, and selfish. I'd return his new toys and tell him to stay at his parents until he gets a clue about adult life. I'm not saying divorce him, but do not let this slide even an inch. Don't give in to his gaslighting. You are right. There is no argument in the world that he can make to justify his behavior. Thank you for this. I felt so hurt that he could spend it like nothing, and then I am supposed to be the bad guy. I think this is the first time where I felt my partner isn't my partner. Edit/update. Wow, thank you everyone. I was not expecting this kind of support. I appreciate all the kind messages and compassion. This is more than I have ever felt in my life, so thank you, Reddit. I took the weekend to reflect on what I want and read through the comments and messages. I see your point, and that I can't keep treating this like a marriage if he doesn't. So here's to today and my first step towards freedom. I am separating the finances immediately and contacting a local lawyer to see my options and rights, as well as therapy options for him. I will present this to him and he gets to choose. But I refuse to baby an almost 30-year-old. If he wants that, well, he has his mother. Thank you, everyone. I will try and update in the future. And now for the update. I first want to thank everyone who reached out and snapped me out of these days with my soon-to-be ex. He was extremely toxic and just made me feel not even worth anything. This is probably why it was so hard to see, wasn't it? So I want to thank everyone who offered words of encouragement and even the tough love. I needed to hear it. After he went back to his parents, he was waiting for my apology, which I never did, and when he noticed I drained our joint bank, he escalated saying I was his, and how I could never actually leave him, and that he owed me. All of my success was his, and without him I would be a loser dropout. His family was even worse, because I had already blocked them, so they started making fake accounts and using apps to hide their number to harass me, saying I ruined their son's life, and how he sacrificed everything to get me where I am. To throw him to the side like this was disgusting and I deserved to rot. I provided all this to my lawyer, who recommended to take a restraining order, in case he wanted to escalate further, and to not engage ever, but just keep the records. This has caused my anxiety to go through the roof, and I am working on this with my therapist. I have separated the finances completely and changed my banks. Even told them my soon-to-be ex is never allowed to access these accounts because he would take it all and run. I have changed my number and gone completely social media-less. Besides this, part of me is broken that our marriage came to end over a computer. I keep thinking I'm stupid, and how I couldn't see the warning signs. I must look like a fool to everyone. All in all, I'm slowly picking up the pieces of my life and figuring out how to move forward. Thank you to anyone still reading this, and thank you everyone who helped me get here. Summary: I am officially filing for divorce after I never apologized to him, which only made my soon-to-be ex-husband and his family started harassing me to the nth degree. I was having a panic attack every time the phone rang, so I had to change my number and delete my social media. I am gaining my freedom from my toxic partner and his family. Your marriage didn't come to an end because of a computer. It came to an end because of your significant other. That just happened to be the final straw that opened your eyes to the reality of your relationship. I know this hurts, but it will get better. I tried to remember this. It didn't end because of one event. But of course I got put on blast for divorcing over a computer and get labeled immature. It hurts, but I know I can't listen to them or I will forever be a cash cow to my ex. Tell them your ex said all that crap about owning you, and you being a loser who wouldn't make it without him. If they get back on your side, they're worth keeping around. If not, take out the trash while you're getting rid of the dumpster fire that is your ex. A few friends were on my side, but I lost the majority. They keep saying how I am selfish, and how I would be okay because I have the job. Marriage is for better or for worse, not just something convenient. How would I feel if my husband was making money and I bought something to make me feel better because I was depressed, and my husband divorced me? So I dropped trying to plead my case. They can have him at his family. For worse means things like illness or financial strife, not one person being selfish to the detriment of the other. It's a partnership, and he wasn't acting like a partner. I want to address this specifically. I must look like a fool to everyone. You absolutely do not. You look like someone who managed to find the courage to do something extremely difficult. Abusive relationships, and make no mistake, this was mistreatment. Financial abuse is a real thing, as is emotional abuse, are incredibly hard to escape from. Relationships require emotional investment, and even in a bad relationship, it's natural to think, I've put so much of myself into this relationship, so I need to try to fix it. Abusers know this, and will do everything they can to undermine your self-confidence, so that fixing an unfixable relationship seems more feasible than leaving it. I was so very proud that you were able to push past the manipulation, both from him and his family, and escape from that toxic relationship. And the fact that you're taking this seriously enough to involve a lawyer is great news, because it shows that you're not going to fall into the trap of, let's try to fix this one more time. So no, you don't look like a fool. You look like a woman who has finally realized your worth as a person. And unlike a bonus from work, your soon-to-be ex-husband can't take that away from you. This made me tear up. Thank you for these words. I really had no self-value or worth coming into this. Even in therapy, I broke down, saying I had failed my marriage and I was getting a divorce because I am unhappy. I now see this thinking is due to the emotional mistreatment from my ex. I never felt good enough and like I was walking on eggshells in my own home. I am thankful he took the steps to get a lawyer because we have been able to document all the verbal harassment from his family. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for transferring shared funds to a personal account? Some background story. I, 35 male, and my wife, 33 female, live together in a medium-sized apartment. She works as a teacher, whereas I work as a pharmacologist for a major biotech company. This means there is a very large pay gap between us. So we both share an account so that we can both pay for necessities and other things. Recently, though, I've noticed a lot of strange activity in the account. She has been withdrawing and depositing large amounts of money recently, like thousands of dollars large. I went to confront her about it. And as it turns out, she has been doing some very risky trading in the stock market. I was not pleased with this. And I felt betrayed that she would gamble our money like that. She just said that I needed to trust her and pointed out that in the past week, around when it started, she has increased the account's value by about 10%. In the end, it devolved into a screaming match and no progress was made. After a lot of thinking, I decided that I would protect my share of the money, since I believe there is a high likelihood that she will start chasing losses and lose all of the money in the account. So I transferred my contribution, about 65%, to a personal account and started cashing my checks to that account. Well, as soon as she found out, she was livid. She said that it was unfair for me to only leave her with 35% of our income since we were married, and she would not be able to adjust to such a salary cut. She wants me to transfer everything back to the communal account immediately, and has stopped talking to me. It was never my intent to hinder her quality of life, and I'm debating transferring her some of the money so it would be split 50-50, but I really want to protect my contribution to the account from her reckless trading. So, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You should have 3 accounts. Yours, hers, and joint. Have all bills get paid from the joint account. Then you can protect your money. She's free to spend her money and invest. Agreed. This is how my husband and I handle it. I have a spreadsheet that breaks down bills and how much we both make. Then we contribute to the joint account based on those numbers. For example, say bills are $1,000 total a month. Say I make 40% of our total income and my husband makes 60%. I will put $400 in the joint and he does $600. Anything outside of that is for us to do with as we will. It works well for us and we have shared it with a few couples who've argued over finances in the past and it's worked for them as well. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. She's happy to see your money go into some investing company's account, so why would she care so much when it goes into yours? Because then she doesn't reap the benefits. He does. Just like if there is a loss, he takes a hit on the loss as well. I need to be clear, I don't mind her using shared money for this. If she talks about and discusses it first, since it was joint money. Not the a-hole. Though I feel you could consider a different approach. Just a suggestion. Your wife is dealing in stocks. Sometimes some people have a knack for it. Sometimes people become very much involved. Read a lot in different companies before buying/selling stocks. Your wife is trying something new. How about you both set a budget for your wife to invest in stocks? You both can also decide on a timeline. Example, she gets 6 months and if you both realize that it is going in losses, give it up. There's a few things here. First, we don't know if she's trading stocks, because OP didn't say. She could just as easily be trading options, cryptocurrency or forex. If it's one of those 3 options, she's putting their money at major risk. Trading legitimately is one of those things that it doesn't matter how skilled or knowledgeable a trader is. They can still lose massive, and I mean massive amounts of money. Even the professionals and retail traders that do profit take million-dollar plus losses at times. The market is unpredictable, especially in times like this. Well, over 95% of traders lose money trading every year. If she was actually being safe with just stock trading, she would have that money in an index account with solid returns. I highly doubt that's what she's doing from the post. Don't believe me? My boyfriend does this stuff, and I hate it. He's probably lost 30,000 plus this past year alone in options, crypto, and forex. One of his losses was 18,000 in one trade. This stuff really isn't a joke. OP needs to protect himself now, and he needs to do it fast. Not day-hole. Last story is titled, Am I the a-hole for going on a camping trip instead of staying home with my pregnant wife? I know the title might sound bad, but the story is that 12 years ago, myself, 32 male, my younger brother and our two close friends started a tradition that every year we go on a camping trip together. We weren't able to the past 2 years because my wife, 29 female, and I had our first child in 2019, and last year obviously wasn't a great time to be taking trips. So this year, me and my brother and our friends agreed on going camping. I told my wife, who is currently 25 weeks pregnant, about it 3 weeks before, and she wasn't happy. She said I can't just leave her alone while she's pregnant. She said that she's anxious because our daughter was born premature at 27 weeks, and she's scared it's going to happen again with this pregnancy, and that I wasn't going to be there with her. I reminded her that this camping trip was only going to be for 2 days. I'm only a few hours away, and that I highly doubt anything is going to happen while I'm gone for the weekend. She told me, do whatever you want. I went camping last weekend, and when I came home, my wife has been in bad mood ever since. I tried to discuss it with her because I don't understand why she's so mad at me, and she tried saying that I never prioritize her, and that I need to grow up because I'm a dad now. Then she proceeded to call me a self-absorbed a-hat. I feel guilty now. She and my daughter have always been my first priority and my main focus. All I did was go away for 1 weekend. Am I the a-hole? Ordinarily, I would say at 25 weeks, she can manage. But if you have history of a 27-week preemie, then yeah, you're the a-hole. Did the trauma of the first time around escape you? Does the stress of your wife must be under hoping not to go through that again not mean anything? I had a 31-weeker, and the whole situation was the most physically and emotionally traumatic situation I've ever been through. I've never felt so helpless and frightened. I will not put myself through another pregnancy because I can't risk it happening again. Your wife must be having to work really hard to be strong, and for you to just bugger off with your mates at such a vulnerable time is definitely a major a-hole move. I read the title and was prepared to say you weren't the a-hole, but boy was I wrong. Premature birth can be terrifying, and coming up on a point in a pregnancy where something went wrong the last time is a special kind of torture. It wasn't just a weekend. She let you know she was scared and anxious and vulnerable, and you completely dropped the ball. Not to mention what she would have been feeling if she had gone into premature labor without you there. Stop saying your wife and child are your first priority and make them that. You're the a-hole. She and my daughter have always been my first priority and my main focus. All I did was go away for 1 weekend. These sentences contradict each other. You're the a-hole. An oxymoron said by a moron. It's poetic, honestly. You're the a-hole. You ignored your pregnant wife's wishes so you can go camping. Clearly, she's not a priority. At the time you went, she was roughly 5 to 6 months along, which is when it starts getting difficult for her to do things on her own, including looking after your daughter. You need to do something special for your wife, who's going through a lot hormonally and mentally so that she knows you prioritize her.